I need my questions. Okay, we're coming up to Paris Olympics and thought it was time we got an Olympian on the podcast. So I'm joined here by Shannon McCurley. She represented Ireland in the Olympics in Rio and then in Tokyo. It's an interesting career path actually, because your first one was in the sprint and then your second one in the endurance on the track. So firstly, welcome Shannon McCurley to Train Like a Monk.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So first question that I would like to ask is, just to set the scene right now, we're in Nice. What are you training for currently?
I don't know. I hate when people ask me this question. Yeah, I'm a recreational cyclist, so why am I training?
Yep. You've retired now from...
I'm retired.
Yeah, you've retired from the track. So we'll go back a little bit to... I was just asking you about it then because I didn't have the full story, but it's pretty crazy that you were racing on the track as a sprinter. That was when I first saw you racing on the track. I was hacking around. You were this sprinter just doing all the short distance stuff. I didn't have that much punch. And then you were good enough to qualify for the Olympics in the Keirin, race there, and then made the switch to racing endurance track events, which they're almost like a different sport in some ways, and the training required. So firstly, what made you make that switch? And then what were the biggest challenges in making that switch?
Yeah, so a bit of a backstory into it was I did endurance as a kid, so growing up in the junior ranks, and I had a really bad crash where a handlebar went through my quad and I couldn't do gate starts. So for us, the only option was the Omnium, and you had a 500 time trial and an IP. So obviously you needed a gate start for them, and I couldn't get out of a gate. So we went, well, she's a good racer, let's train her up as a Keirin.
Right, and then so you're obviously, if anyone's picked up on the accent, you didn't grow up in Ireland.
No.
So then was it just as soon as that became the goal, where'd you have to move to? Like you grew up in country Victoria, Australia.
So
what'd you have to do then?
I was very blessed that John Beasley took me on training with the Malaysian team in Melbourne. So at this time, Ireland didn't really have a track program. So I was able to base myself in Melbourne and just come over for events. When a bit more of a team developed, we were based in Mallorca. So we were there basically. I was racing summer to summer, so I would be in Australia for the summer and then over to Europe for the summer, and yeah.
Yep. And then, so yeah, when you then switched to the endurance side of things, I know recently, especially leading up to Tokyo, you were spending a lot more time in Europe. What was the reason for basing yourself in Europe for longer, and was that because of the training was so different and there was more time on the road then?
Yeah, definitely. And we had a bigger squad then too, so yeah. There was like 6 of us based over there, and riding in Madison, like you need to spend time with your partner. So like the more time on the track together, the more time out on the road together, doing efforts together, like it's a bonding experience at that. But it just brought us closer together, and you're able to work off each other and motivate each other right through, especially through COVID. Yeah.
And now, since hanging it up well, actually, you didn't hang it up straight away post Tokyo Games, because you did go and race the women's Melbourne to Warrnambool, which at the time I think was the longest road race. So you went from a Keirin, which is 6 laps of a 250 metre track, to suddenly the longest road race. So, and then also destroyed some crits in Melbourne as well. So now you're riding a bit less. Do you still do the crits when you're back home?
No, I made the effort to say I'm not racing anymore.
Okay.
And a couple of times I've been tempted into things and I've gone, yeah, and then I've gone, no, what are you doing? Like, you've said you're not racing anymore.
And what was the biggest reason for doing that, for stopping completely?
Mainly because I get white line fever, and if I'm in a race, I'm in it to win it, and I don't want to put my body on the line anymore after several concussions.
Yeah, that's a big one for sure. I'm in the same boat there. We were just talking about it before. If you've had that many head knocks in your professional career, it can probably just settle to some town sign sprints instead of risking it all for a crit win. So I've got the usual training questions here, and these will be interesting because your training now is obviously a lot different to when you're on the track, also a lot different to when you're a track sprinter. So I'm really interested what the answers to these will be. The first one, what is your favorite training session?
All right, it's a bit of a sick session, which like people would be like, how could that be a favorite? But I guess growing up as a middle distance runner and being able to sprint but also have a bit of endurance, this was always my favorite session. It was the 5 1 minute full gas.
Yep.
Up a hill. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did it. I was riding with you in Melbourne one time when you were doing a few things like that.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, that does not look fun. Doesn't look fun at all.
Yeah, I hated the longer stuff. I sort of got into it a bit more like in the end, but when I developed a bit more of a fitness base. But yeah, I just loved that short, punchy 1 minute and then death.
Yeah. And then, so if that was your favourite, then what's your least favourite?
Probably like just long, like 5-hour rides, like endurance. I was just like, oh, like, can we break this up? Like, I like having things in between where you could just be like, all right, we've got like 30-minute blocks here and stuff like that. When I just had to ride, I would just get lost for my thoughts and it's not a happy place.
You need to keep the mind busy then. Okay, what's your favourite loop then? So I'm guessing it's not going to be a 5-hour loop.
No, definitely not a 5. I mean, basing ourselves in Mallorca, there was some beautiful loops we did. But again, I don't love climbing, so I can't say they're my favourite. Like,
not many options there.
Scenic wise, amazing, but like anything out the back of Sawyer, Sakalabra, all those loops, they were just stunning, but they hurt.
Yeah, and now you're living in Melbourne. What's your favourite loop in Melbourne?
I don't mind Beach Road.
Just an out and back.
Albert Park.
Yeah, it's a good one for 5K. Okay, when you've got efforts in a ride, so say you've got that session with the 1 minuters, do you get them done at the start of the ride or do you save them till the end or spread them out?
Start,
get them done?
Yeah. I get my half an hour warm up in and then straight into them.
Yeah, and then straight to the cafe after they're done.
Straight to the caf.
Park up. When you've got the training plan, and it's obviously been a while since you've had a coach now, but when the coach was putting in the stuff, were you someone that always had to stick to it and get it done, or did you change it up based on how you were feeling, or just went off on your own thing sometimes?
No, I generally would stick to it.
Yeah.
Unless like I pull a heart muscle or something out mid-effort and then come home and sulk about it. But I'd stick to my plan.
Yep. When you're training, do you prefer solo or in a group?
In a group. I love the social aspect.
Yeah.
But then like, not so much a group, I like just having a person there.
Yeah. And then, so if you are riding on your own, what would you listen to while you're riding, or you're always with someone else so you've never got the headphones in?
No, I've always got my shocks on.
Yeah,
like even when I'm with someone, I've got my shocks on.
Yep. You just, so you can drown them out if you
if I need to, I can just go.
Yep.
But yeah, podcast, just trashy, like American.
Trashy white girl podcast.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Just I guess you need to keep your mind busy.
Yeah. Yeah, I just need to listen to something that's easy, that I don't have to think too much about.
Yep. Beautiful. And then, early morning or pro hours for your training?
Early morning.
Yeah, you're a really early morning trainer.
I'm such an early morning girl.
Yeah. And then, was that even the case when you were only riding, doing nothing else?
Yeah.
You still just get out and get it done?
I like to do it in the morning. Like, probably be a bit later.
Yeah.
Like 8, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
But
in Mallorca,
it was definitely like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it's like a sin to get out of bed before 8 there. But
yeah, I didn't know what to do with myself in the mornings there.
Yep.
Waiting for everyone.
Yeah. Now, very applicable today, it's actually raining in Nice, which is very rare, but when it's raining, nowadays I'm assuming you can just park the bike up and not train, but when you had a session to do and it was raining, would you jump on the trainer or go outside and get it done?
No, I'd go outside and get it done.
In the rain?
Yeah, and I hated it, but I hated the trainer more.
Even as a trackie?
Yeah.
You have to do it all the time. Mm-hmm. That would have been a tough one. And because your sprint stuff would have almost been entirely on the trainer, yeah? When you were doing Keirin's?
Yeah, more. No, I used to do quite a bit on the road still.
Oh, yeah.
Like even just slight downhill rev work.
Yeah.
But yeah, majority of it was on the track really.
Yeah, on the track, yeah. All right, that's team avoid the trainer, another one for that.
Yeah.
When you're riding, stops or no stops?
I like to stop at the end.
Stop at the end. Okay. Keep that in mind for today's ride then. No stops midway. Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. And then as long, you've probably got some good coffee shops near you in Melbourne too that you can
Coffee.
always stop at. Favourite food when you're training?
Ooh, well, we made these rice cakes a few weeks ago back in Melbourne, and they were absolutely elite.
Really?
And we saw them on, I don't know where you saw
If anyone's
them.
seen your Instagram, what's your tag if anyone wants to follow you?
Just Shannon McCurley.
Shannon McCurley. There's always plenty of donuts on there, so I really thought donuts was going to come out on top.
No, like I'm an almond croissant girl now.
Yeah, okay.
I've sort of gotten a bit bougie living in South Yarra.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Not sure about the macros if you look at an almond croissant mid-ride, but I guess when you're riding for enjoyment, if you're stopping at the end, you've earned your almond croissant then. Did you ever do any low-carb training while you were riding? And like, was that a big goal for you on the track to do any of that stuff?
Yeah, I did for a while there, and mainly it was just to lean down.
Yeah.
But I guess riding with like your glucose tracker and stuff, we sort of figured out that it wasn't the best thing for me.
Yeah, okay. Especially because most of your training would have been hard efforts there. You wouldn't have much endurance.
It was quite hard to try and like work that around it, but yeah.
And then cross training's normally a big one for trackies. Did you do anything else off the bike, and do you still like to do any other cross training other than riding?
Just like, obviously we do quite a lot of gym work.
Yep.
I've always been a big walker, and I love a good hike.
That's an interesting one as a track rider, because often I know when you need that explosivity, most people are told to stay off their feet and not be walking around too much. But did you ever get that kind of advice, or you just always wanted to walk anyway?
No, it's hard to give me advice, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
They're quite happy I've hung it up now. They're like, no, we don't have to deal with her.
Yeah, so still walking now, and then I saw you've been doing a few runs as well.
Yeah, so I've taken up a bit of running the last...
Did you do that at all while you were during your career?
Nah. I used to be like that stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, it's kind of good when it's raining outside and you don't want to get on the bike, but I still have that mentality where I need to do something each day, and you're like, well, I can go out for a half an hour run and still feel good about myself.
And it's a lot easier to wash your shoes than it is to wash your bike. So.
Definitely.
And then the last one we'll finish with, what is your best piece of advice? Might be something you've got yourself or something that you want to give to others.
I think what I've learned from stepping away from racing is like, I think it's the hardest thing for anyone that's sort of going through that sort of transition, is I hung on to it for a long time. And even when I wasn't racing, like I'd beat myself up over not training or not doing this, and I'd be like, why? Like, it's so hard to switch out of that mentality, but it was just to be patient with yourself and give yourself a break.
To be prepared to take time off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have
Well,
to...
you were even saying you arrived here and just wanted to get into training when you're on holidays.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
I think it's really common. I had the same thing, having to take time off with an injury and whenever I get injured, it's the same thing, and you just get so used to doing that same thing every day. But I think, it's really good to have that break from routine.
Yeah.
And that's probably, it's good that you said that, because I think it's probably something that most struggle with the most when they step back from professional sport, is you don't have that routine anymore.
Yeah.
And then
that's the big thing. So you need to create like different sort of outsources, and once you're able to establish that, like, it just makes life so much more cruisier, and I'm happy.
Yeah, it's good to hear. All right. Thanks so much for coming on. We're going to hope that it has stopped raining, so we're going to go out and do a ride.
My first ride in Nice.
First ride in Nice. We'll let you know how it goes, and hopefully we can find an almond croissant at the end of the ride.
Or a cookie one.
Yeah, or a cookie. Cheers.
Thank you.